Hey guys, how's it going? It is, I believe I'm going to go with Thursday morning. Got some more work done yesterday on this, and I'll do a little walk around, kind of show you where we are. But first of all, I went and ordered the sheet of metal. This one's a 20 gauge, 4x8 sheet, and it was 39 bucks. So it's nice to have a metal yard not far from the house. It beats going to Tractor Supply and paying $39 for a piece that's about that size on the floor right there. So already cut up into some of that. I'll show you that in a minute. Let's see where we ended off before. We were doing ribs going across the back. I did pick up two more lengths of 1x2 by 24 feet long, and as you can see there in the back, one leg, another leg, and there's a third one here. Had the notch into one of them to clear the engine tid. And then after that, I went and kind of see that little block right there. I made 20 of those. I think there's 10 ribs going across. So I made those spacers up, and what that does is it ties those rails back to the frame, transfers the load back over. So I know there's a bunch of junk up here, but all the decking is kind of sitting in place where it's going to be. And that's kind of the setback I have on it for my weld spot going all the way around. And it's nice and flat. Seems like it touches everywhere quite well. But I put off welding that down because there's some other stuff I want to do down below. And it's easier with the decking off, much easier to get some work done. One is the gas tank. I was going to go try and fix this one. But as you can see, this one's a little rough. And it's been patched a couple of times. A hole there, and more holes on the other side back there with a bunch of brazing spots in it, so it's pretty much done. I already dumped out about a foot square worth of rust out of it, and there's probably that much again still in it, so that tank's just done. So I ordered a new tank that should be here in a little while, and then that sets to the left of the treasure chest, gets strapped down. There's a cable that comes over to a pedcock, and that pedcock there's no gas gauge in this, so what it has is a reserve. So you have a little cable with a lever on that pulls that, and then it opens up the reserve if you run out of gas. It gives you, I don't know, probably a gallon or two still left behind, kind of like a motorcycle setup, you know. And then after the tank is in, there's two block off panels that kind of block it off from the treasure chest so your junk doesn't go rolling in there, and that would be these two guys here that block it off. And that's part of the problem in the front there. We'll get to that. Might as well look at the front. As you can see, I started making some, made a patch panel in the center, and then the two outer ones were preformed ones that I picked up at a swap meet. I guess something was wrong with them or somebody didn't use them. So I cut them up for my use. Pop them out of there. See if I can reach the one on the other side. Two, and then we got the one I made in the center. Come on. There we go. So that leaves your big old gaping Flintstone hole into the front. And it's got more rust repair down below. I don't know if I'm going to get into that now or not. I probably will. At least make some of the patch panels. You can kind of see. There's like a bulkhead that goes around the front. They have a tendency to blow out too. The emergency brake was locked up solid. I started putting some heat and some lube on that. Worked it back and forth. And of course, now it works perfectly fine. And of course, the emergency brakes work perfectly fine. And you wouldn't think that that would be the case being sitting for 40 years, so I ordered two emergency brake cables. And of course they do work. Murphy's Law, right? So I got a set of them coming. I'll probably put them in anyway. But again, I think I'm just going to spend the day probably making some more little patch panels to the front. While the floor's out, just makes it that much easier to get access to everything, you know. So, pop the window out of it. I wanted to see what I had underneath and see if I had any big holes or anything in the frame, and this was the worst one seal wise, so I cut that one out with a razor knife. and that one looks actually fairly well. So I am going to take some of the toilet bowl ring wax and melt it down and stick a paintbrush in it and try brushing it right into here. I'm going to hit it with Scotch-Brite first, knock off some of the loose rust, but I'm just going to soak all this with that, I think it's like a paraffin type of wax. It's really sticky. It's a toilet bowl. I think I showed on the video, I used it for undercoating, so I think that's what I'm going to go try doing, at least for this area that you're never going to be able to touch again, and just kind of really pickle that in really well. And you want to talk about gaskets that were bad. Let's see if anything laying around. Yeah, here's what was inside it. Yeah, this is rubber. So I think its sealing capabilities have long gone. So, and a little paper dolls. That's the pan for the center where all the holes were before I cut the center out of it, so I knew where everything went. And well, I think it's just where we are right now. Again, kind of picking away at it, you know. It's I'm trying to get all the lower stuff down first, and then kind of work my way up, I think, is how it's working out. But you never know. Sometimes it's fun just to jump around and kind of work on this, work on that. But I don't like it getting totally torn apart where you got stuff everywhere, you know. Someone was asking what I'm going to do about the rear rail. You can see the belly that's on that. Yeah, I am going to push that back. I'm not going to go crazy on it. I'm not going to try to make it flat again, but I want to make it so that bottom seam is where it's supposed to be. You can see it's knocked out probably about 3/4 of an inch to an inch in the middle on the bottom there. So just some stretching out of that. And there was something here. I'm not sure what. You can actually see where the metal is broken off. But there was something here. And then on the other side, I have a feeling where the shady area, there was a piece of metal or something that helped support it that's missing. If anybody, a couple of the guys or VW guys know what that looks like on theirs, just give me a shout. Might want to recreate that. Might be a good idea to have something between you and the cargo in the back, stabbing you in the back, you know? So it might be like a safety bar or something to kind of keep the cab from moving. Drunken line. Alright guys, well, I am going to continue on and see if we can get something done, crank the heater all the way up. The bandsaw is working very well. It's been cutting up a lot of metal and patches and panels and everything. It does stall out once in a while. I gotta get a little bit tighter on the drive belt, but as far as doing the cutting, it's doing quite well. I'm very happy with how that thing came out. And again, that's a converted wood to metal bandsaw. So, alright guys, again, thanks for watching, commenting, subscribing, and good day. Bye bye.